Match day 7 tonight of the Champions League. Arsenal travel to Inter Milan, and I think, unfortunately, we are going to be losing in the San Siro. First of all, Arteta absolutely has to rotate tonight. He needs to make more use of the squad. We're bringing on players in key Premier League games with 20 minutes to go, 30 minutes to go, expecting them and hoping them to make a difference, and the sharpness just isn't there. I also think there's a chance that the Arsenal players, they might have one eye on the United game on Sunday. Like, it's a rejuvenated United side. It's no longer Amorim. We play last out of, us, City and Villa. There's every chance that that lead is no longer going to be 7 points. I don't expect it to be 7 points come kickoff against United on Sunday. Always a big game, Arsenal Man United. So, like I say, I think the players could have one eye on that game as well. When you look at our opponents, Inter Milan, they're obviously a very, very strong side. They're top of the Serie A. We lost there last season in the Champions League, and they currently sit 6th in the Champions League this season. So they're not guaranteed automatic entry into the knockout rounds. And I think they sit on 12 points. There's loads of teams in and around that kind of 11, 12, 13 points. Considering this is their last home game, they go to Dortmund next week. I think they might be looking at this one as almost a must-win. I hope that Kepa starts. I think he might start with David Raya again, but I've got no issues if Arteta feels like he can bring Kepa in. I think it's going to be Ben White at right back again, but there are concerns about playing him. He's just come back from injury not long ago. I think that'll be his 4th game in a row that he would have started. Centre-backs, I think he'll go Saliba, Gabriel, just for that solidity. You know what you get with that partnership. Obviously, a fantastic partnership. And then at left back, I like to think he'll bring in Miles Lewis-Skelly. He needs to be played into some sort of form. He looks very, very off it at the moment. So I'd like to see him start at left back. And he has been starting games in the Champions League. In midfield, I'd really want to just see some rotation and see Arteta completely freshen it up and go with something different. So, I think it's time we start using Norgard a bit more. He can play in the 6. Ahead of him, if this Nwaneri news is true, then obviously he's not going to be around for much longer this season. So I'd like to see Eze play again, similarly, just not in form, not really getting the minutes. And Mikel Merino, I think he's a very able deputy in midfield. In attack, I think he'll play Saka on the right. Saka didn't start against Forest. I'd like to see Gabby Jesus through the middle. I just think with Gyökeres, it's just not clicking and it's just not really working at the moment. Sort of take him out of the limelight, play Gabby Jesus. Again, I feel like, Champions League could be his kind of platform. And then similarly on the left, like Gabby Martinelli is our Champions League guy this season. So go with him because his form in the Champions League has been really, really good. I think Arteta will obviously be desperate to keep up that 100% record in the Champions League and to stay top. So I do wonder if he still goes strong again. But as I said, I do hope he rotates. And look, we've got a very, very winnable match against Kairat at home next week. And if we win that, which we should, then I think that guarantees us top 2 in the Champions League, which is the target really. But saying all of that, I do think we could lose tonight. I hope I'm wrong, but I think we might go down 2-1. Let's see what happens, but come on, you Gunners, either way.